Greetings, folks. This is DC Investing, Reach Financial Independence, and I talk about topics that help other people on their pathway to financial independence. And today I wanted to talk about kind of the basics of getting starting with investing and give an example of an account that I set up for one of my kids and kind of show you some perks or some nuances of that account that may be helpful on your pathway. And we just had the Thanksgiving holiday, and during that time, I got two of my nieces set up with investment accounts for the first time. And really, that's the first place to start out with on your pathway to reaching financial independence, retiring early. You got to first have an account that you can do that with. So I really enjoy the Fidelity system. It has a bunch of really great bells and whistles that I think are just awesome. So it's super easy to get one set up. You just do it online. First thing, just go to fidelity.com. You want a brokerage account. That's really the thing that I find most useful, not a cash management account or something else. Just do everything out of a brokerage account. Get that set up. You basically have to enter in some information like your social security number, where you live, a little bit of your finance history, and then your account gets set up. The next step, you have to link a bank to, well, you don't have to, but it's easiest if you log into your bank from your Fidelity account, get that set up. And what that does is it allows you to push and pull money to and from your local bank or credit union. Super helpful. Makes funding the account really easy. If you don't link up your bank, you can always fund the account by getting the app on your phone and then taking a picture of a check. Makes it easy to get money in there, but really linking your bank is the easier thing. And then once you have your account set up, one of the things I like about Fidelity is any money in the core account earns money market interest rates if you choose the SPAXX option, which is just a really great way. I use it as my bank, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm pushing my nieces to get these accounts is, if you get scholarship money, you can put it in this core account and it'll earn 4.5% of an interest rate. Whereas if you just leave it in a bank, you earn nothing. So that's kind of the first step, is get your Fidelity account set up. Get some money in there. It'll sit in a core account. It'll earn money market rates. And then you can start to buy individual things like ETFs or stocks. You're going to hit the trade button to do that. And so today I wanted to give the example of one of my kids' accounts. I set up a Roth account for them. They're in their mid-20s, kind of early college age. And I'm trying to teach them about how to get started in investing. And if you don't know about the difference in accounts, once you get your brokerage account set up, it's very easy to open a retirement account. There's two different kinds. You can open up a pre-tax IRA or a traditional IRA, and then any money you put in there saves you on taxes right now, but then you pay taxes later when you pull money out in retirement. And the other account is a Roth account. That's where you pay taxes as you normally do. You pay them now, but once you put the money in there, you don't get taxed ever again on any of the growth that happens. And I find that the Roth account is most powerful for young people because they earn so little, they don't pay taxes anyways. So particularly while you're a student, maybe you have a summer job or a part-time job or something, you're just not going to make enough money to really have to pay much of taxes. I think you have to make over $15,000 before you get taxed at all. And then if you do get taxed, it's 10%. So chances are, as long as you have some funds, you can put them, if you have some extra funds, getting them into a Roth gets you set up for super growth over the years. So it's kind of cool. And so I've got Roth accounts set up for both my kids. And today I want to give an example of one of those accounts. The first image that I want to show is just kind of showing, we got it set up a year ago. There was only like $250 in that account. And I think we had to put $100 in originally. Fidelity was doing a $100 bonus at the time. So they got a $100 free match for that. And then I think there was a Christmas gift or something that came in. I said, hey, why don't you put that in your Roth account instead of spending it, which they did. So it started out at $250. And then as work happened this year, I said, put some of that money in your Roth account for the long term. And so this account kind of had a few deposits, and at the end of the time, it had $4,000 in it. So that's a great start for someone young trying to get money into an account. We also have a brokerage account, but I'm just going to show you the Roth account in this case. So once money goes into that account, the hope is that it stays there for the rest of your life and you just let it grow. But one of the unique things to know about a Roth is that you can take your contributions out without penalty if you need them. Not the growth, but the contributions. So the money is not stuck in there, although it's better to think of it as being stuck for a long time. So that's a good example. The next image I want to show is kind of the individual stocks that we have purchased within this account. And so in the Fidelity system, there's a tab called Positions. And if you click on that tab, which you see on this image, it'll show the different stocks and ETFs that you own. And we're in the Overview tab. And so there's a dozen or so stocks that I have, selected for my child. And the principle, I'm just trying to teach them some investing things. And primarily, I wanted to teach them about dividend investing. So there's quite a few energy companies in there. There's some oil pipelines, there's some oil drillers. We have some ETFs. The MLPA is an ETF that owns pipelines. I also wanted to teach them about the S&P 500, so we put some VOO in there. Lucky enough, I bought that after the April crash this year, so it shows a huge gain. It's got like 27% that particular position has gone up this year. Could have, put everything in it and been up with those gains. But like I said, I'm just trying to teach them about dividends. So we have all these positions, and overall, this account has gone up. It's increased in value this year. I put the capital gain at $321. So from that $4,000, my child has made $321. So that's money working for you. And that was about an 8% gain for this year, which was pretty good. But that's not the only gain. On the past slide, it showed that for this year, the increase was about 12.82%. And the reason is because this account also pays dividends. So about $320 came in as capital gains, but then the dividends also get paid. But before I show the dividend screen, I kind of want to show that it's good to know that in investing, that your winners can outdo your losers. And so there's a couple of stocks on the overview pathway that show, they've gone up, and like even one stock can outpace all your losers in there. So, there's a few items that are down for the year, but if you sum up the totals, you can pick one of the winners and it swamps any of the losers. So overall, you have a gain. And if you extend that long term, even if that same number of stocks completely lost 100% of the value, as long as the winners continue to outpace the losers, if a winner can go up more than 100%. So over the long term, if a winner goes up 200% or 300% or 400%, that will swamp any of the losers that lose 100%, as long as you're kind of, spread across multiple things. So that's something to understand about investing is, by most companies tend to go up over time. I don't know if there's more winners than there are losers, but companies tend to increase over time. And over the long term, there's never been a 20-year period where stocks have not increased. There's been 10-year periods where things have gone nowhere, but over the 20-year period, things have always gone up over time. So that's something to kind of know about these accounts. Something I really like about Fidelity is the dividend view. And so on the image, instead of being in the overview, I'll try to point to it, but if you choose the dividend view, it changes your screen. And I just find it really helpful and fun, because on the screen, it shows a nice column on the right-hand side that shows your yearly payout for how much in dividends you're going to earn. And for this case, this account is going to earn $200 in dividends just for holding these stocks. And so that is super fun, because it's a great way to teach a young person how just owning these things, you put money to work, you put $4,000 in there, but every year, $200 is going to be paid to you from your dividends. And I have set this account up so that the dividends will automatically repurchase more shares So every time a dividend comes in, it purchases a little bit more of the stock. And so over time, even if nothing else is added to this account, slowly over time, um, this account will own more and more shares, which will then pay more and more dividends. So I really like this feature on Fidelity's page. And I also like that summary where you can see, what is your total that you're going to earn in dividends. And the reason why I find that is so great is because you can kind of plan on future savings to increase, how much you get in dividends. And eventually, the goal is to have enough saved so that you can live entirely off the dividends. Something else that's interesting in this page is that you can see the dividend payout for the individual stocks. I've chosen things that have high payouts. They're somewhere between 3% to 9% of rate. So that's really fun to be able to see, what is what do each of these things pay out every year in terms of a return rate, and that's useful to be able to pick and choose some different things. So I find that helpful. And so another fun thing that I think is useful is to kind of figure out, from the amount of dividends you are earning, what does that equate to every single day? Because the idea is that these stocks pay you even while you sleep. So if you take the number $200 that this account is going to make and divide it by 368 days in a year, you find that you get a whopping 58 cents a day of income. And it's not a lot now, but it can grow. So every day, because you've put $4,000 into this account, every day, this account is going to pay you 58 cents on average over time. And, you can't do a whole lot with 58 cents now, but as you continue to put more money into this, it makes a bigger difference. So let's say, time has gone on and you've done this every year for a number of years and you've got $40,000 in this account instead of $4,000. Well, if you've got that money spread across these same stock investments, instead of $200 a year, you're going to earn $2,000 a year. And if you do that same exercise where you take $2,000, divide it by 365 days in the year, that's going to turn into $5.50 every single day, which is still not a ton, but it's enough to buy a cup of coffee every single day forever and never run out of money. So that's kind of the fun thing about putting money in investments, is if you can see what you're going to make, it makes it kind of a game. And I know some financial influencers who really kind of think about early on, like, how much do I need to have saved in order for my next bill to be paid for free forever? And so the idea of, hey, if my Starbucks coffee, if I get one of those every day, how much do I have to have invested so that that is a free expense? And the answer was about, $40,000 at an average of 5 to 6. It's probably more like 6 to 6.5% for this account that it pays out actually in annual dividends. So it's a pretty high dividend rate, but that's pretty actually, well, yeah, something like that. So that's a really fun game, is to try to say, I want to save more so that more of my life is completely free. And so right now, my child's account isn't making a huge amount. It's making 58 cents a day, but I will definitely be pushing on the kids to, again, invest more into these Roth accounts so that over time, the dividends get higher and higher year after year. And, my eventual goal, I did this in my own life so that I would save more and more of my paycheck. And now, the dividends that I get are enough to completely cover my lifestyle. And I don't need a job anymore. I can just live off dividends because I've saved enough. So that's kind of some basics here. I show a little bit of the Fidelity system. The overview tab is really good to be able to see what your capital gains are. You can see how much you paid for shares, how many shares you have. If you switch to the dividend view, it shows how much each of these stocks is going to pay you throughout the year, what your dividend return rate is. And I really like the summary that says, what's your total year's income going to be? Because then you can just plan on that. And if you want to do a fun extension, you can kind of think, if I have enough invested, then certain parts of my life become free. If you have $40,000 invested and you're making $2,000 a year, that's $5 a day that you can then blow, and you won't ever, You could do that every day for the rest of your life and never, go down anymore. So besides the spending on the dividends, like $200 will get paid from this account in dividends, but the capital gains will still continue to increase. So even if, my child decided to spend uh, the dividends, which is only 58 cents a day right now, the capital gains will still continue. And slowly over time, companies tend to increase their dividends. So, even if you spent 100% of your dividends every year, chances are the stocks would still continue to appreciate. And as they appreciate, the companies would tend to increase their dividends slightly with the rate of inflation. So you'd get a raise of about 3% every year. So that's something else to kind of know. So overall, this was just kind of a fun exercise to sort of teach a little bit of the basics of investing. It's a great, if you don't have an investment account, get one set up. And it's also great to kind of do an outreach to family members, to kids, to nieces, to nephews, to try to teach them, hey, get these accounts set up and then use them, because they're very powerful and fun, and it's a better system to operate in than a bank. From your Fidelity brokerage account, I should mention, you can write checks out of that. You can get a debit card to do a debit card from your Fidelity account. You can get a Visa credit card linked to your account, which is really cool. It pays 2% cash back, and they deposit the points right back into your core investment account. I really like their card. So basically, the only thing you can't do from a Fidelity account is directly deposit cash. You can pull it out of an ATM, you get withdrawals from cash, you just can't deposit cash. But most people don't use cash these days anyway. So anyhow, that's kind of an overview. Hopefully that helps. Give it a thumbs up if you like this stuff. Leave a comment, because that helps the channel. If you have any ideas or things you want to share with the community, by all means do so. And thanks for spending time here with DC Investing. Bye.